Hi there.
Happy Monday.
Happy Monday. Happy Monday with Jen. Happy that you're here. Sorry that it's afternoon. Some Mondays are like that.
This Monday was like that.
But you know what? I've made it very, very clear that my time construct on this time with you is incredibly loose. And you may remember that quite some time ago, I dropped the word morning from the whole thing. It used to be Monday morning with Jen. And I was like, you know what, you guys? I am over promising and under delivering. So let's just say Monday. Okay, hi. First of all, happy International Women's Day. Yay. Yay, us. I love being a woman. I love it. I love leading women. I was on a interview this morning on somebody else's show, and he was like, golly, like, what's your deal? What keeps you so motivated here? How can you keep your foot on the gas, like you do at this continuing? I'm like, oh, I'll tell you why. That's easy. I'm like, I love the women that I serve. I mean, it's just that simple. I am so constantly renewed by this community, by the stories of women, by what you are dreaming up and accomplishing, and what you care about, how you're living, how you're loving, the questions that we are diving into, the hard spaces that we move into. I'm like, it's endless. It's like an endless well of community and energy and inspiration. And so I also want to say on this International Women's Day that today is my mom's, Jana King, 70th birthday.
Guys,
She's the
best. Me and my stubs, we pulled off a little
surprise. A little surprise. It had to be little. It's just all of our, our little group of family, but a little surprise for her Saturday. And we had a crawfish boil. I'll post some pictures. I love using my mom as an example because she and dad had the four of us, our four kids, and we are all just wild. Like,
it's four high energy
children that they had. We take up a lot of oxygen. We've got some melodrama. We're loud. We're so loud.
Like one of my friends says, we're a lot.
Like we're a lot. But we get that from our dad.
But my mom
Is
is,
this just steady Eddie?
she's just the calm
In the middle of all of our storms all the time. And she is reliable and good and consistent and faithful. And so she's not the one that gets like all the attention, but we had tons of people who love my mom read her letters, and we collected those, and the theme was the same over and over and over again. Jana, I just want to be like you. I want to build a family like you've built it. I want to have a marriage like you've
created and nurtured.
I want to have this way of being in the world that is nourishing and nurturing. It was so great to read. Anyway, happy birthday to my mom. She's 70.
Guys, what's happening? How is my mom 70?
Okay, here's what else I want to talk about International Women's Day. I want to talk about my friend Lovey. Lovey's new book is just out. First of all, it's called Professional Troublemaker. So if you don't understand why we're friends, then I don't know if you've been around here for very long. Lovey is incredible, and this is good. This is good work. This is what it looks like to be a woman who lives free, who is
Convicted and bold enough to
be a disruptor where it's necessary, when disruption is required. And she's funny. Oh my gosh. I was introduced to Lovey, first of all, through her humor writing, when she was still largely writing online. And she has the kind of sharp, funny wit that makes me like boil with envy. She's so sharp as a tack. And her humor is sort of like really on the nose. It's the subtitle, if you couldn't see it, The Fear Fighter Manual. She's fantastic. I love her. You'll love this book. If you're new to Lovey, you just write me and say thank you that I just made an introduction for you. She is really like a special voice in the world. So this is just out. It will challenge you. It might make you mad in some places. It will make you cackle out loud laughing. It's going to make you think. So the best kind of books. I want to talk to you about another book that I'm reading on International Women's Day by another woman this was put into my hand by another woman. So Brene told me that I had to read this book. And I was like, I don't want to. I don't want to read that book. I can tell by the title that I don't want to read that book. And she's like, you're going to read it, and it's going to be your new Bible. You know, when somebody says something like that, you can't just ignore them. I'm like, okay. Now, this book's been out for a while, and so some of you already know this because it's your Bible too, but it's called Codependent No More, okay, by Melody Betty or Beatty, I don't know how you say her last name. How to stop, here, you ready for a subtitle? How to stop controlling others and start caring for yourself. So brutal. I didn't understand the concept of codependency for a really long time. I thought codependency meant you couldn't live without another person, that you were needy, that you were grappling for their attention and intervention. I didn't understand what that meant. Now I understand what codependency actually looks like in a lived life. It is a relationship ruiner. I'll tell you that. And the person that we primarily have to abandon is ourselves. When we fall so deep into the practices of codependency, it can be unlearned. I want to read to you. It's okay. Don't worry about it. It's just a little tiny read. I just want to read to you. Well, the whole book for me is underlined. The whole book. I might as well have just got out my highlighter and just the whole book. I want to read you a few sentences from one chapter that was like right here to the heart. And the chapter is called Undependence. Undependence. Okay. We've been taught to not trust ourselves. This happens when we have a feeling and we're told it's wrong or inappropriate, or when we confront a lie or an inconsistency and we're told we're crazy. We lose faith in that deep, important part of ourselves that feels appropriate feelings, senses truth, and has confidence in its ability to handle life's situations. How many of us have been gaslit out of knowing what we know, right? When our intuition and our heart and our soul and our mind and our body is waving all the red flags, and we try to run it up the flagpole just a hair and get absolutely gaslit out of it, and we believe it. Oh, hate it. Continuing. We can take care of ourselves. We are not helpless. I love this kind of straight talk. I really respond to this kind of leadership. Being ourselves and being responsible for ourselves do not have to be so painful and scary. We can handle things, whatever life brings our way. And then she lists out 6 steps that might help, 6 ideas that might help for those of us who feel trapped in a relationship that's built on codependency. Number 1, it's a doozy. Finish business from our childhoods as best we can. Grieve, get some perspective, figure out how events from our childhoods are affecting what we're doing now. Step 1. I have said to my friends that if and when I am back out in the world with and there's men in it and there's a person to be had in my life, I'm going to be like, step 1, I need receipts from your therapist. Okay? Just give me her cell phone. She and I need to have a conference call. Have you dealt with your garbage? Okay. But also we. See, look, I already projected that on somebody else. Have we dealt with the stuff as best we can? Number 2, nurture and cherish that frightened, vulnerable, needy child inside of us. That child may never completely disappear, no matter how self-sufficient we become. Stress may cause the child to cry out. Unprovoked, the child may come out and demand attention when we least expect it. Don't pound, I love this, don't pound on that vulnerable child when he or she doesn't want to stay in the dark all alone, when he or she becomes frightened. We don't have to let the child make our choices for us, but don't ignore the child either. That's so kind. That's so kind-hearted to our own selves. Number 3, stop looking for happiness in other people. Full stop. Our source of happiness and well-being, listen up, campers. Our source of happiness and well-being is not inside others. It's inside us. God. We don't need the approval of everyone and anyone. We only need our approval. That's a pretty big deal. That is a pretty big deal. And I have learned that my approval matters a lot to me. It does. It has been a true source of comfort to stand in my own character integrity and have it intact. That I approve of me. I approve of how I have lived in this life and how I have responded. Turns out that's a bigger deal than I thought. Number 4, we can learn, I love the word learn, to depend on ourselves. Maybe other people haven't been there for us, but we can start being there for us. You know, I tell you all the time, and my counselor Carissa tells me virtually every week when I'm trotting out some new thing that I think I'm failing at or not doing a good job at, or I don't understand, or I don't know how to manage. And every week she's like, you just haven't learned that yet. You're practicing. You're learning. And I will tell you, as somebody who has really walked through some weirdness, this is true. We can learn to depend on ourselves. Believe it or not, that's a fact, Jack. Number 5, almost there. We can depend on God too. He's there and he cares. Our spiritual beliefs can provide us with a strong sense of emotional security. And then she went on to write this. God hasn't abandoned us. We abandoned ourselves. I could sit in that thought for a million hours. We abandon ourselves. God has not abandoned us. Whoa. God loves us. Crazy loves us. He is here. He's always here. The practice of abandoning ourselves is common, right? Finally, number 6, strive for undependence. Begin examining the ways we are dependent emotionally and financially on the people around us. And then she said, we can do it. We don't have to feel strong all the time to be undependent and taking care of ourselves. We can and probably will have feelings of fear, weakness, and even hopelessness. This is normal and even healthy. Real power comes from feeling our feelings, not from ignoring them. Real strength comes not from pretending to be strong all the time, but from acknowledging our weaknesses and vulnerabilities when we feel this way. Every page underlined. Are you kidding me with this? So this was something that I'm learning about myself and learning how to reverse. And it is possible, but I'm telling you, these are some deep trenches that I know I have dug in my own psyche and my own habits and practices, and maybe you too. So it takes some real intentional work to, be present enough to recognize. I had to do this week. I had to correct with a kid because I recognized, this is a way in which I am still trying to control a situation. I am trying to control somebody else's behavior because I want this thing to be better. I wish that this was better. I wish that this was fixed. I wish that this was going differently. And so I will attempt to do what I've always done, and that's meddle. It's not mine. It doesn't belong on my plate. It's not my responsibility. It's not my work, and it's not mine to own. So I had to go back to that child and say, I've done a thing that I do. I recognize that I have. I recognize that because I have a hard, again, back to Carissa, if you're with me on Mondays, I usually have some therapy to share with you, because I have a hard time letting a hard thing be hard, right? I want the hard thing to be better. I want the hard thing to be fixed. I want the hard thing to be different, or then I'll just have the hard thing ignored. I told her, because I have it's a challenge for me to let a hard thing be hard. I am resorting to some codependent behaviors, which is managing somebody else's behavior. Newsflash, this doesn't work.
Never. It doesn't work. I mean, like, believe me,
I'd keep doing it if it did. If it was effective, I would be codependent forever, not codependent no more. But it doesn't work. And it frustrates the people that we are meddling with. And so I am at least learning to be aware enough to see my patterns, hopefully to correct them in the moment, but even when I get it wrong, to call back the next day and be like, can we talk about that? And I'm sorry. And I'm working on learning this. I'm just learning this.
anyway, dang, Brene, why does Brene make us
Read stuff like this.
She told me that when she first read
This book, she threw it across the room. So I'm just saying that even Brene Brown had like a visceral response to this kind of instruction, because I think a lot of us, women particularly, live in some state of codependency.
mess. Okay. Finally, last thing.
Simple and Free comes out in 2 weeks, which is so exciting. And I'm talking to people about it right now on so many like podcasts and interviews that I've got so much energy for it again. So we're really going to start talking about it next week. But I want you to know that we got a bunch of incredible pre-order goodies for you, all these like great digital resources you can have immediate access to, because you know, we built out ancillary products too. We've got a study guide, we've got a guided journal, like so many tools for you. If this is a conversation you are interested in having, if you are curious what less might look like in your life so that other categories can become more, the ones that you love the most, your relationships, your freedoms, your independence, your generosity, all the stuff that we actually really care about on earth. So that's at jenhatmaker.com/simple and free. Just go there and it's super, super easy. If you pre-order, you get all that stuff. So I can't wait to start talking to you about this. This Friday, I'm going to come to you like this, and it's going to be our first of what we're calling Simple and Free Fridays, in which I think you're going to like this. I really do. Okay, I don't want to say too much because it starts next week, really, in earnest, but it's going to be exciting, and I think the power of our communal generosity is going to be really exciting to watch and liberating. Really, I mean, okay, that's it. I'm going to get into that later, but I just wanted you to know. So that's at jenhatmaker.com/simple and free if you're interested in that. Okay, I think that's it, guys.
Lovey.
Love her. Everywhere books are sold. Professional troublemaker. Follow her on all the socials because she will be a vibrant part of your feed. You will be happy that you added her for sure. Happy birthday to my mom, the greatest mom that ever lived. I tell both my parents, if I could pick any two parents out of all the parents that live on the earth in the history of time, I pick those two. So, okay. Guys, have a great week. And I'll see you next time.